Hi, I'm Peter Mallouk. This is 1,000 Miles from Wall Street. I'm here with Tax Director Scott Hipp. Thanks for being with us, Scott.
You bet.
So one of the things we do here at Creative Planning is instead of charging our clients by the hour for tax work, we have a flat fee model. I know that you're a big advocate of that. That's how you ran your practice before you came to Creative Planning. And tell me a little bit about why you feel that way and how you see the industry moving in this space.
Yeah, you bet. I think, first to understand the value of having a fixed set fee ahead of time, you have to understand how the industry works now, for the most part. And most of the times now when people show up to get their taxes done, when they get there with their documents, they don't even know what their fee is going to be when they arrive, and they're kind of holding their breath, and they don't even know what they're going to pay until they actually come to pick up their return and the work is already done. And when they see their invoice, they find that it's usually based on the number of forms, the number of states they filed in, and other volume-based parameters that they used, and that's really an antiquated way to go about doing things. If you think about it, that system goes back to when they when you used to prepare returns by hand on paper, and maybe then it made sense, but now with the advent of software and e-filing and other technology advances, that system doesn't make sense at all anymore. It's really kind of a way for them to justify charging higher prices by keeping the focus on the transaction-based instead of the value-based part of the service.
That makes a lot of sense. And so when you're meeting with a client, how would a flat fee be determined? What does add complexity and what doesn't really add complexity to a tax return?
Well, of course, every situation is different, and that's the thing about tax preparation and tax planning is a lot of these places try to pigeonhole it and just make it a volume-based thing, and it really gets down to each individual level and the type of work that goes into it. And it's a service like anything else, and it's a value-based service. And our tax directors here at Creative Planning have decades and decades of experience, so we can meet with people and assess right away, here is what we need to do to give you the best value possible. Here's the steps we need to take in this process. So right away we can say, here's what this time is going to take, here's what the fee is going to be, and here's the value you're going to get back for it. And we start the process right then, so we can do the planning ahead of time. And that's the real value to it, is just understanding the situation and taking the time to meet with each person ahead of time, meeting with the wealth managers and knowing the specific cases for that person.
One of the things I've really liked about that flat-based pricing is that clients feel like they can call and ask questions and bring more information, and that they're not facing a running clock. So I think it creates more of a partnership with the CPA.
Oh, exactly. And we call it kind of a CPA on demand is kind of how we look at it. You're paying an upfront fee, and you're not just getting tax preparation service. You're also getting the planning that goes into it ahead of time, and any questions you have, any follow-up that needs to be on the tax return, we're available to call, and we're not going to bill by the hour or anything extra. It's all part of a one-stop shop. Here's the fee you're paying right away. You hear all the time about stories that people will call their CPA and they think, I'm just having a casual conversation, or I just had this quick question, and then they'll get an invoice in the mail for $150.
Yeah, I've had clients say, I don't want to talk about the kids anymore because I know that takes 1/10 of an hour, and then they're going to bill me for that part of the conversation. So yeah, it can result in some pretty funny invoicing.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, you're paying basically for a retainer for us to be there to give you advice on a year-round basis, because tax planning or tax preparation it's not just a data entry, here, let's get your return done for you. We're here to give you advice and keep your taxes as low as we legally can. And that's a year-round commitment. We have to constantly be looking at your situation, updating your model, giving advice on things you can do to keep your taxes low.
Yeah, and that's the difference between tax prep and tax strategy. You definitely want to have some strategy behind it.
Oh, exactly. Nothing's more painful when somebody comes in February to get their taxes done. It's like, if you would have just done this back in December or November or whenever, you would have saved so much, because so much of tax strategies have to be implemented before December 31st. Yeah. And if you don't come in and see your preparer until February, well, by then it's too late.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thanks for being with us. Those are some great tips. Appreciate it, Scott. Thanks.
You bet.
This commentary is provided for general information purposes only and should not be construed as investment, tax, or legal advice. Past performance of any market results is no assurance of future performance. The information contained herein has been obtained from sources deemed to be reliable but is not guaranteed.